Hi everybody, it's CraftyRia again. I wish to welcome you back to my channel. I'm glad you're here. Today I'm going to show you how I make one of these cards with this Christmas tree. I showed it in the video when I showed all of the cards that I had recycled, and I had a request to show how to make the card, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. This one I made using scrap paper from my paper collection, and I just used two different patterns and alternated the patterns. And to cut out the tree, I'm using this die set that I got from Wish. It was just a couple of dollars. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the measurements in case you want to cut the triangles out if you don't have a die set like this. I like everybody to be able to do the things I make without having to have special equipment. So the base of this triangle is 4 inches, and from top to bottom it's 3 inches. So you could cut a triangle. It's 3 inches tall, 4 inches at the base. Make a triangle, use some scallop scissors or decorative scissors, pinking shears or decal edge scissors, any of those scissors that we have in our stash. Use that and cut across the bottom. And you make 4 of them in different sizes. Let me measure them all. And I'll post the sizes below as well. This second triangle is 3 inches at the base and 2 1/4 height. And this third one is about 2 1/2 inches at the base, 1 3/4 inches tall, and the fourth one is 1 1/2 inches at the base and 1 1/4 inches tall. And then you can make a stump of pretty much any size. This is about 3/4 of an inch by maybe 7/8 of an inch. Or you could just cut just a rectangle that looks like it'll go with your tree. You really don't have to measure that. So I'll put those measurements below. If I forget, someone please remind me, but I will do that. I will measure them again and write them down and put them below so you can make your own triangles. And I just have these on a piece of magnet. This die set also came with some berries and a snowflake punch. I did not use those. I just used the 4 and the tree trunk. I used a snowflake from the Dollar Tree, and I used some bling that I had in my stash. You can use anything to embellish it, or you don't have to embellish it at all. It's up to you. And then I have some card bases. These are just the standard A2 size, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, just general card bases, nothing fancy. And then I just cut some background sheets 1/4 of an inch smaller than the card base, so they measure 5 1/4 by 4. And I did them in some patterns that would probably not conflict with the designs I'm using, and you can use plain colors, or you can even just put it on your card base in white or whatever card base color you choose. And then I have some foam adhesive. This is just some foam squares from the Dollar Tree. I use these because they're not very thick, they're not very high, and you're going to have a couple of layers on there, so I don't want to make it too thick for an envelope. And then I cut the tree trunks. I recycled a card, the inside of a card, on some craft paper. You can use brown or whatever you want. This happened to be the back of a card, and I cut out some of those card bases with this, or tree trunks with this. And then I have a star punch and some gold foil paper in my stash. This is just a scrap, and I punched out a star to use possibly for the top of the tree. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. And I have some bling also that I can use to decorate the cards. I like to put the card together first and then decorate it to decide what I'm going to do. So because this is CraftyRia and I've been doing recycled Christmas cards, I went ahead and sorted my cards out. These are cards that I would not normally use to recycle, like the full picture. Either I don't like it or it's just not really a good pattern to recycle. It doesn't have like a pretty picture on it or something like that. So I went through and picked out some of these that I thought were pretty neat and colorful, or that would make good trees. And I'll show you some of them and my reasonings behind them. Like these angels, I mean, angels are neat, but I don't really like the way this card looks. But if you were to take one of these and line it up like this, now keep in mind on this tree, you're only seeing the back three, just the bottom part. You're not really seeing the top part. You're just going to see like that much of it. So if I cover that up, that looks kind of pretty, you know, and this part you're not going to see. So I'm thinking I could use this card. And here's another one. I really like this border, and I thought if I put these like this and cut away, that border is what's going to show. So that would make a really pretty card as well. Same thing with this. I thought, because there was greenery in the border, I thought that would be kind of neat and those words would be covered up. The only piece that you're going to see the whole piece is this little one. You're going to pretty much see the whole thing, but then you could put it up in the corner like that and get a whole piece. So this one, I don't know that I could use this. I could use it for one of these. I'm not sure. I'm going to put that one aside. This one I thought the same way. You could use pieces of this border, you know, on the bottom of them. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe something like that for the top. I don't know yet. I'm going to put that aside. This one I thought if I needed an extra piece, this would be really pretty to cut out those leaves. They would make really pretty card. And these, I thought I have two cards that are the same. One of the cards that I made in my recycled cards had the three wise men, and it was really big, and the colors were so beautiful, and it made such a pretty Christmas tree. But I think these are too small. I don't know that they're going to work. And I picked these out because of that same reason. They had all those pretty colors. So I would probably use a lot of these together on a card. I'm just not sure. They're all pretty much the same colors. Some have some sparkle. I'm not really sure, but I'll set those aside. This I picked aside because it was blue. I put a lot of blue cards together because I thought I could do some blue. I'm not sure yet. Thought those would be pretty. I don't know if I could use some of those, that tree up there. I'm not exactly sure. But I thought with this one here, I could get a lot of this neat blue design and even have, you know, a blue design at the top. I'm not exactly sure what I'll do with those yet, but I did pick them aside. And then this, I love the background of this with this musical note, and I thought the same thing. I could cut these out and have the those musical notes show through. And this had musical notes if I needed an extra piece. I thought these all might go well together. This one here I just thought has this real pretty blue, and I thought maybe I could cut out some with this and maybe add some of this in. I'm not exactly sure yet, but I think I'm going to start with this angel tree. Obviously I'm not going to make all of these cards here now, or this video will be 3 hours long, but I think I'm going to start with this angel tree. Let me put the rest of these away. So anyway, that's the kind of things that I look for when I'm looking for cards to cut apart to recycle. Like I said, I wouldn't use this image otherwise, but I think with this die set, I think I can make it work. All right, sorry, I bumped the camera with my head. So, and then someone also asked me if I cut my cards apart first and then assemble cards. No, when I go to recycle my cards, I go through cards just like I did a second ago. I leave them fully intact. I even leave the inside intact until I make the card. I do one full card at a time. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to go ahead and cut this card apart. And I'm thinking I can cut out this saying. I don't think they wrote too close to it. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I think you can see that on the camera. There. And since this has writing, I'm going to throw it away. And I'm going to keep this for the inside of the card. I try to reuse the sentiment as much as possible. If the card has a really pretty back, I might use that instead of the sentiment, and I'll stamp something inside. So anyway, I have this, and I have these 4 dies, so I need to place them on here in such a way that the bottom is gonna be decorative. I really like this. It almost looks like a string of lights on the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and try to place this kind of like that, just to get an idea. And then there's this. I think I'll place this one down here. I want every other one to match. If you know, see what I'm saying here. Here's circles and circles and then stripes and stripes. So I have every other one. Circle, stripe, circle, stripe. So I kind of don't want 2 patterns exactly the same. Otherwise it'll blend in and it won't look like 4 different pieces. So I think that looks really good like that. And then there's this one, which I'm going to overlap into here. I'll have to cut it out separate because you won't see the tops of the pieces anyway. So if a little piece of it is missing, you won't see it. And then there's this, which I'm thinking I could do like that, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. I think I'm going to start by cutting these 2. I really like those. So, and then I'll do the other 2 in a minute with what's left. Let me get my die cutter. It's really heavy. Ugh. All right, it's my big shot. I usually keep it across the room on a table, but then I can't show you what I'm doing if I do that, so. And of course I drop everything. Okay, there we go. So I have my magnetic platform and my bottom plate. When I put my plates down, I always check to see if I push on it like this and it gives, I flip it over and then it's flat. Otherwise it doesn't work so well with the magnetic plate. Things go all over the place. So I'm going to put my cards down, and I think I said it's going to do this. And I'll go like that. I just have to be careful how much of that white dress is going to show. I think that's going to be okay. Whoops. And see, I'm moving it around and the magnetic plate's not so happy. And then I have this piece. I think I will do it like that. Try to get it lined up as evenly as I can. Just so it looks pretty even. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a Christmas tree and they're not perfect. And then I'll put my top plate on and then run it through. I'll run it back just for good measure since it is a card and it's a little thicker than the paper I cut yesterday. All right, so we have that. And then we have this. Okay, I think that'll work. And then I'll go with this next biggest one. And like I said, it doesn't really matter if part of it is not lined up perfectly. You know, this top piece, if there's a piece missing out of it. I think that'll work. And then this top piece, the whole thing will show. So it really does matter how you're going to do it. I think I kind of like that because it'll make it look like the star is shining down on the page, I think. All right. All right, I think I'm going to do that. Let's go with that. Oops, my pieces are shifting here. I want to make sure they don't shift when they go in the machine and move things around. See? Okay. I should have gotten my tape. I should have brought my tape in. I have some washi tape. There. The magnetic platform is not being my friend right now. There we go. All right, that should work. All right. That's the top piece. And there's the middle piece. And it did not cut that top piece, but that is okay. You'll see how I handle that in a minute. Okay. Instead of just putting this in the trash, I'm going to set it aside for now. All right. So I have my backgrounds. I think that background's going to be too busy for it. But I have this, and I think this matches really nice with that. Yep. So I'm just going to kind of do a rough layout just to kind of give you an idea of how that's going to be. All right, so you don't even see the piece that was cut off. You don't see the pieces of the angel that's cut off. You just see the blue geometric pattern. You see a little bit of the white from the angel there, but I don't think that matters. So I think that's kind of pretty. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to adhere this to my card base. Okay, then I always adhere down the bottom piece first. I don't put the bottom piece on pop dots yet, or at all, because I'm going to put the other 3 on pop dots. I want to see how tall I want it. All right, I'm going to bring that down a little bit. And it depends on the tree, on your design, on how tall you're going to make it. Sometimes you need to make it come in a little bit further. Okay, so I'm going to adhere this piece down just with this flat adhesive, nothing fancy. And I did not adhere these, these bottom pieces because I want to slip the trunk up underneath. Okay. And I'm just lining up side to side, trying to make sure it looks a little bit straight, and then there you go. And then I'm going to put this little piece, I'm going to tuck it up underneath like a tree trunk. I'm going to use a little bit of liquid adhesive for that one. This is Art Glitter Glue. It is wonderful. It dries fast, it dries clear. It is really cool stuff. The only thing is I don't like it for thin paper since it is a liquid adhesive and it could cause your paper to warp. All right, there we go. And you do have to put your pin back in this fine metal tip. Otherwise it'll clog. It'll dry and it'll clog. Okay, so I have my bottom piece down, and then I'm going to put my second piece on, but I want to lift that up a little bit. So I'm going to use these, but I don't want to lift the whole thing up, because if I lift this whole thing up and then this whole thing up and this whole thing up, I'm going to have 3 layers of this to try to fit in an envelope for mailing. And anything over a quarter of an inch thick, you need to put extra postage on. So, and sometimes I like to put some extra goodies inside of my cards. So I don't want it too thick. So I'm going to use regular adhesive here at the top part of that. And I'm only going to pop dot the bottom. And I'm going to cut these foam squares. I'm just cutting them into a strip. And I'm going to cut that strip, each square in half. So I have 4 little pieces. And then I'm going to put them down here towards the bottom. And all right. And I will take the backing off. I know this is like watching paint dry. All right. So I have the top with flat adhesive and the bottom with the foam. And I'm just going to line it up on here. I kind of want to cover up that present and a little bit of that dress. So I'm going to kind of watch where I'm putting it. I'm going to put it there, and I can stick down that front. So this bottom piece is popped up. The top piece is still flat. Because then when I pop up this piece, it's going to pop it up on something that's kind of flat rather than on something that's already raised. I'm going to kind of eyeball it on here. I think I'm going to do it about like that. So we have some of the plain and then we have some of that, which I think all of these dots kind of look like Christmas lights. I think they're kind of pretty. So I'm going to cut another strip of this, cut each piece in half. So I'm actually cutting these big squares into smaller squares to make them easier to put on here because you don't really need a lot. And this one you really only need the 3. Oh, I should have done this first, but I will put some of this flat glue on the top, and it doesn't matter if it goes over the edge because this glue is forgiving. You can just fold it back. And peel these pieces off. If you like this video and would like to see more of these, please give me a thumbs up. And please leave a comment below and let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll try to do it for you. There we go. I think that's pretty good, and just push it down. And you can, if there's any glue on the edge, with this type of adhesive, you can just rub it right off and it comes off. So then again, the bottom part's raised and the top part is flat. But from looking directly down at the card, you really can't tell that the top is flat. You just see that the bottom parts are raised. And this piece, this whole piece, I'm going to go ahead and pop up this whole piece since it is the top. And you could see the difference. If I were to just leave that flat, it really blends in with it. But if I raise it up, you'll see it'll look really good. I have that piece, put that, and then there. So I just put the foam squares on the whole back of this, and I will take off the backings. And I think I want this like little strand with the dots to kind of show, because that'll make it look like a strand of lights, sort of. And then there. So you can see that the whole top one is. And if you looked at it from the side, it is really still the height of just one of these rather than the height of 3 or 4 of them. But when you look at it from the front, you can see each piece is lifted. So that does save some height on the card, some thickness for mailing. All right, so then there you have your tree. I think that's kind of cute. And because I alternated patterns, you can see the differences in each piece. You know, it looks like 4 pieces rather than just one blended together. And I cut out this star. I don't have a lot of star embellishments, but I thought that would be really pretty for the top of this tree. And I don't know if I have handy, I'm looking all over my messy desk to see if I have a small round pop dot, but I do not have one handy. I mean, I have them somewhere, but I did not plan ahead. So I'm going to take a piece of this and I'm going to cut just a tiny piece. Actually, maybe not. I might just use my liquid adhesive and glue it. I'm just going to glue it onto here since that's already pop dotted up. I'm going to put my liquid adhesive on the tree. And then I'm going to put my star on that. I find that if I use a liquid adhesive, I find that it's easier to put it onto the bigger thing. Like if you're doing a center of a flower, you put it onto the paper, onto the center, and then you put your tiny thing on it. It's just easier that way. I think that looks kind of good like that. And it's already raised up a little bit since I glued it to the part of the tree and not to the background paper. All right, I'm getting old. It's hard to put that pin back in. All right, so there we have that. And if you want to embellish it, I had embellishments and I just threw them all over my floor. This bag was full. I have these. I'm not sure how this would look, so let's play together. I could do something like this. And make it look like a strand of lights. Or make it look like a curved strands of lights, maybe that. Something like that, make curved strands of lights. Or I have larger pieces here. I don't know that I have gold. I don't. I don't have gold. Yeah, I do. Hello? Is it gold? Yes, I do. I thought I had gold, but it's kind of, it's more yellow. I don't think I like those. I think they're too big and they're too yellow for it, not gold. And then I have these assorted blings just from my stash. It's kind of messy. I have white bling. I have these little yellow or different colored diamond shapes. Which I'm not sure I like. Okay. What I think I'm going to do is, I don't see anything that catches my eye that I absolutely love. So I could absolutely leave the tree the way it is. But I could also use some of these small pieces on in the middle of each dot like that. I just put them down and put my fingernail on that piece of glue and pull the rest of it off. So I put it down, I put my fingernail between it and the next one, and I just pull. It's a great way to chip your nails, by the way. There. Yeah, I think I kind of like that, and I'm going to use the design that's already on the card as my guide. There. I kind of like it. I'm going to go ahead and do it on this one. I'm wearing nail polish and not nail wraps, so that's really gonna tear up my nail polish. If I had my wraps on, it doesn't matter. They're a little more resilient than nail polish. I think I like that a lot. And I think I'm going to do it on a couple of these dots here. I'm going to put one on the middle here and here. And I might just take it, I don't know. Put it on that. And then I might just put an extra couple here and here. Put one here in each, kind of in each corner, or, you know, scallop. I think I'll put one in each of these scallops too. Sorry if my head just got in the way. It's hard to do this on camera and not be like straight over top of it. Okay, there. So there, we have that decorated with some Christmas lights. I think that's kind of pretty. All right. So there you have it. That is how I go about making one of these cards. Here is the other one that I made out of scrap paper. And then that's with bigger bling that I just randomly placed around the card. And then this one has the little bling, and I just used the design of the card to place the bling. Well, thank you everybody for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel, and you can be notified of my videos when I put them up. Please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below. I really appreciate it. Once I get to 100 subscribers, I'll be doing a giveaway. I'm about halfway there now, so please help me get all the way there so I can send someone some lovely goodies. You guys take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.